The sprinkler.
One of the things that shocked people, what was it?
What shocked people was that our view and how we accomplished to ensure that documentation is complete at the end of the sprint is to make sure that we get our developers to write doc content.
So I'm assuming that's what shocked them.
That's what shocked them because they're like, "What
is it like the my precious syndrome? You know, this is my documentation. Nobody else can touch my documentation." Or
no, it's not that. It's just that no engineer knows how to write proper English grammar, can form nice sentences or proper documentation. So that's why they were shocked that we let our engineers write it.
Are those facts, or is that just
it's a fact.
It's a fact, really? Wow.
It's a rarity if we were to find any kind of engineer who has good documentation skills or proper grammar and writing capabilities.
Yeah.
So sometimes also an engineer is just too close to their feature.
Yeah.
So therefore they're not giving us the right content. So that's why people were shocked that we actually let the engineers go in and do the initial documentation.
And what has been your experience, your personal experience, having engineers writing technical docs?
Pros and cons.
Okay.
And some are very, they'll just document whatever bare minimum. You know, they've been told to create an API that does this, and that's it. They don't know the use case. They don't understand what it's there for. All they know is that they need this feature and it needs to be a Boolean, so I needs to go in. And that's pretty much it.
Okay.
So you get those type of writers, engineer writers.
Okay.
Then you get the other ones who are so intricate in their documentation.
Too detailed or?
Too detailed.
Yeah.
They start thinking about, they start explaining the back end. And what we
geez.
don't see. and they start saying, you know, in this scenario, because if you do this, then this is supposed to happen. But no one sees it. I'm like, why am I rewriting it
in
then?
this class, we have a virtual method that overrides this method. Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, geez.
So then we get way too much detail. And they don't focus about the other stuff, which is, again, use case. So we do need to have a collaboration between what the engineer provides us and then also the PO to understand how this is supposed to be applied in a real-life scenario.
So when the engineer writes a documentation, what would be your role in that case?
So in the sprint process, after they do the documentation bit, I'll take it, read it, get a demo from them so that I understand what the feature does, but also have to work with the PO to understand how exactly it's supposed to be working in real life.
Okay.
What would be the use case? How would it be worked? How would it be used in the whole entire product, the software that we're delivering? And then after that, then I'm able to take it and rewrite it. But if I need to complete the end of a sprint per se, and I'm at near the end of the sprint, then my role is just editor. Quick edit.
Oh, really?
Grammar, make sure that
typos and whatnot.
Everything's good, and then it goes in because we have to make sure that we meet our definition of done.
Well, definition done, I assume, includes the quality of the documents.
Eventually.
So I'm assuming you're cutting on a little bit on quality when you're at the end of the sprint and you're just doing editing.
Exactly, because you're trying to deliver your MVP, so quality sometimes doesn't go in there.
So this means you're accumulating some kind of documentation debt.
Yes.
And when did you repay that or just leave it as is?
No, and then the next sprint, we tackle it.
You tackle it?
Yeah.
I mean, let me play devil's advocate here. I obviously I'm an agile coach, so I believe in teamwork and everybody, T-shaped individuals. Where if I'm programming, I can also help with documentation. I can help with testing. I can help with all kinds of things to help the team succeed in meeting the sprint goal.
Yeah.
That said, wouldn't it just be easier if you just did the documentation and engineers? Sometimes it's longer to redo what somebody did. As opposed to just doing it yourself. Are you saving time?
I don't know if I'm saving time doing it this way. It's just that when you have a sprint that's 2 weeks long, and sometimes the engineer does not complete the feature until the second week, maybe 2 days at the end of the sprint, there's not enough time for me to do the work that I need to do
Yeah.
There's to put the quality in, to sit down, to get the demo, to talk to PO, to rewrite the entire thing,
Yeah, okay.
to get a review,
Yeah.
to get.
So you
edits.
do need help from the team.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And how do they feel about it?
They're on board.
They're on board. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
you have some engineers who understand that it's a team effort and
Yeah.
that, a story is not done until everything is done.
Okay.
So those ones, but you start noticing that certain engineers are always the exact same ones that start doing documentation because the other ones just don't want to do it. So therefore they ditch it and then they move on to the second story, or they take another task and they just abandon the doc task.